Chapter 21, The Compass. "Get this horrid bird off me!" Mrs. Huffy cried as Cubby sprang up to retrieve his pet. "Why, you wicked, wicked boy! You'll pay for spoiling the master's property with your filthy scribbling, you will!" "'Twas not him but me," Diggory told her. "I drew on the wall, but I never meant—" "Oh, 'twas you, was it?" Mrs. Huffy flew around in a rage. "Proud of your sorry self, are you?" She dug her fingers into Diggory's arm until he yelped. "Mercy, you get those buckets emptied and get back to your work. And you," she said, turning to Cubby, "you take that beastly bird out to the garden and out of my sight." Cubby and Mercy did as they were told as Mrs. Huffy dragged Diggory into the kitchen by his ear. Once there, she sat him down in a chair at the table and told him to wait. She bustled out of the kitchen but quickly returned with a dark green bottle and a large spoon in her hand. "There we are now," she murmured as she poured the dark green liquid from the bottle into the spoon and headed toward Diggory. "Sure, if this isn't just the tonic to make a bad boy wish he'd never done wrong." As Mrs. Huffy brought the spoon up to his lips, Diggory leaned as far back in the chair as he could. An evil smell rose up from the spoon. "I never meant no harm," Diggory pleaded. "Please don't make me drink that." But the housekeeper silenced him with a look so sharp his voice was reduced to a whimper. "Be still," she snapped. "The master takes you in off the streets and keeps your neck from the noose, and this is how you repay his kindness? By destroying his property? We'll see now if you don't get a belly full of what's due you. Open your mouth now, you monster. Come on, boy, open your mouth." "No," cried out Diggory. "Please, no." She pressed the spoon against his tightly clamped, closed lips just as Master Henry barged into the kitchen. "What's going on in here?" he demanded. "This ill-bred Cornish urchin ear has taken to destroying your property, sir," the housekeeper replied, her big round cheeks puffing out. She took Diggory by the elbow and dragged him back out to the well-house wall, with the master following behind. Diggory lowered his head, too sick with regret to look the master in the eye. "Just look at the mess he's made," Mrs. Huffy fumed. "This'll take hours to clean. He shall be punished, sir. Of that you can be sure." She waved the open bottle of tonic in the air, releasing a wave of stink. Master Henry stared at the wall with astonishment. "My word," he said. "What is that horrid concoction?" "'Tis a horrid thing he did," Mrs. Huffy answered. But instead of agreeing with her, the master broke into a fit of giggles. "The boy has an unusual talent," he said when he regained his composure. "Surely the boy must be punished," the housekeeper shrieked. "You may leave us now, Mrs. Huffy," the master ordered. "I will take over from here." "I'll scrub it off," Diggory promised after she had gone. "I'm so terribly sorry, Master Henry. Please don't send me back to Plymouth to be hung." Master Henry was silent for a long while as he studied Diggory's drawings. "I must say your rendering of Mercy is quite fine," he declared. "And this bird looks an awful lot like our own Mrs. Huffy." First the master laughed out loud. Then they roared with laughter together. But the master's face grew serious. "You have an unusual gift for drawing, Diggory." His voice crackled with excitement. "And I can help you make the most of it." "Me, sir? But how, sir?" "By studying, by learning," Master Henry told him. "You have a talent, that's for sure." Diggory's ears burned to hear such praise. "But talent isn't enough," Master Henry said. "First and foremost, you must work hard and give your all. Learn to read and write." Diggory wrinkled his brow. "Our neighbor, Tristan Killigrew, used to say words in a book could not bring the fish into his nets. He always caught more fish than anyone in the village." "Your neighbor was a great fisherman, no doubt. Reading is very much like casting your nets, but the difference is that with books a man can feed his heart and his mind as well as his belly. Reading will change your life." He reached into his vest pocket. "Have you ever seen one of these before?" He pulled out a small, round instrument. "Is it a timepiece?" Diggory asked. "Nay, it's a compass. and it is most handy for helping you find your way. But you must be able to read the letters to use it. See here, he said, pointing to one of the letters. This E is for east, and when you traveled from your village to Plymouth, you would have followed the arrow pointing to the E. If you were to return, you'd follow the letter W for west. I did what my cousin told me and followed the C, Diggory said with a shrug. Master Henry smiled. And you found your way quite well. But I didn't find my father, Diggory said sadly. Master Henry put his hand on Diggory's shoulder. I, too, have lost those I've loved. It is not easy, but your father would want you to go forward and make the most of your life. You've traveled a long distance on your own, and if you were to learn to read and write, there's no telling how far you could go. Books can stir your imagination and open worlds to you as deep as the ocean. I hate the ocean, Diggory said. Master Henry's dark eyebrows furrowed. Such talk from a seaman's son. Diggory shrugged, embarrassed by his admission. Cubby fancies himself a sailor one day, but not me. Ah, I see, Master Henry said. Perhaps your talents are better suited for land. That is why I want you to be my apprentice. Your apprentice, sir? Me, sir? Aye, if it suits you, Master Henry smiled. I need a boy who can use his hands as well as his wits in my workshop. And one day you may grow up to have a workshop of your own. But I am no high-born, sir, Diggory said. My father could never make more than his mark on a page. And my father was but a country bailiff, Master Henry told him. Your future is your own, Diggory Beale. Aim carefully toward what you believe in. Your future will be as radiant as you see it. As radiant as you see it. The words hung in the still afternoon air as Diggory watched a beam of sunlight bounce off the shiny brass compass.